This program contains true stories of rescues. All of the 911 calls you will hear are real. Unless indicated, the actual people involved have helped us reconstruct the events as they happened.
Chesterfield Emergency Services. Okay, it's okay, honey. I got police on the way.
Stay on the line. Come on. Yeah, I can do it now.
They're in good hands here.
When a child is in danger, people will try to do the impossible until that child is saved or all hope is lost. I'm William Shatner. Tonight, true stories of children in danger and modern heroes on Rescue 911. We begin in Moorhead, Minnesota on December 4th, 1987. Most of the footage in this story was taped on that day when time came to a stop along the banks of a frozen river. The Red River divides Fargo, North Dakota from Moorhead, Minnesota. In the snow at the river's edge, 11-year-old Junior Garza and his 9-year-old brother Joey were out playing with a couple of friends. They found a dead squirrel lying frozen in the snow.
Hey, man, look at this girl. Look at this girl.
When a throw landed the squirrel 75 feet out into the frozen river, they dared each other to go get it.
I dare you for nothing. No, you go.
I'll dare you.
I'll go, but you're going to give me a 3-piece crunch.
Yeah, whatever.
Finally, Junior Garza agreed to go out onto the ice. The river looked frozen solid, but the ice was only 2 inches thick.
Junior, come back. You're going to fall in. Junior, don't go. I seen the thin ice that he was sliding on, and that's when he fell through the ice. He went up and down about 2 times, and then he went all the way down.
Joey Garza ran to get the mother, and Clark Longy to call for help. The call to 911 came in at 4:14 p.m.
Emergency center.
My friend fell in the river.
MP 211, 231. I have a report of a child in the river. He's calling from Riverview Heights. No further information.
Within 4 minutes, firemen from Moorhead arrived with a boat. The boy was already trapped somewhere in the freezing cold water under the ice.
We're basically confronted with a hole in the ice.
His mother was out there screaming and hollering, hurry, hurry, hurry.
Rescue workers from both sides of the river began a desperate search for the boy.
With the equipment that we had, we weren't prepared for that rescue because you got to get on the ice, you have to break the ice, and then get to the place where that individual has fallen in.
The river was so murky you could probably see 2 or 3 inches down into the river. It was a matter of concentrating on the river bottom and try and feel for something different, something unusual.
The work was backbreaking and dangerous. If a rescuer fell into the 32-degree water, he would be risking his own life.
They were really intense. One guy in the front of the boat usually was trying to hold the boat's location with the pole, and then the guys in back of the boat were searching the water.
You're working and the time is going fast, but then in your own mind you're keeping track, and it just seemed like it had been too long for any type of a survivable rescue.
The boy had been under more than 30 minutes. The light was failing, the temperature was dropping rapidly, and hope was wearing thin.
It was getting dark. There was some talk about who was going to call the rescue attempt and make it a body recovery either that night still or later on.
But one of the firemen had read about cold water drownings. He knew that a few children had survived more than half an hour without breathing if the water was cold enough.
We were exhausted. I couldn't even hang on the phone anymore. I just kept telling the guys, we still got time. We still have time.
Harold was the biggest factor out there on the ice that day. We've still got time, we've still got time, he kept saying. I didn't know if we had any more time. I didn't know if the boy had any more time. We had all night, but I didn't know if the boy had any more time. I felt something unusual on the end of the pole. Something soft, something different.
Okay. I got something. Okay, here. Here it is. Got it. Here, okay. What is this? Moving the other way. Here, you're going to do it again, boys. Get over there, pull it. Okay, go.
He was blue almost to the point of being purple. It's like picking up a water balloon.
Come on, Jim. Grab my jacket. Here comes. Come on, Jim. Jim and everybody. Obviously, they're okay.
The boy had been under the icy water for 45 minutes. He was clinically dead.
At that point, I didn't think he had much chance of survival. I wouldn't have bet on even a resuscitation. I did not feel that he would have had a resuscitatable brain.
He was rushed to St. Luke's Hospital, where a team of medical specialists was waiting, headed by Dr. William Norberg.
At 5 o'clock, a 11-year-old child was brought to the emergency room at St. Luke's Hospital. Until we give up all hope of his survival, we will keep him on maximal support, keep him on ventilators, and do whatever medical miracles we currently seem to be able to do to keep him going.
They opened his chest and put him on total life support. His body temperature was 77 degrees. He had no heartbeat, no respiration, no brain activity.
In your mind, you said, this is much worse than I had thought. His heart didn't beat. I mean, it just laid there, and it did nothing, and it was stiff and hard and cold. We pumped the blood from the heart-lung machine through a special filter, and gradually, with the warming of the body and warming of the heart-lung machine, it sort of pinked up in color, and all of a sudden sort of started to beat. At 10 o'clock, we were trying to decide whether he'd had irreversible brain damage. During this period of time, he had shown no responses whatsoever, no response to pain. We can make a body survive, but sometimes we come out with a brain-dead patient.
By the next morning, the nation was waiting for each new update on the boy's condition, hoping that he would be all right.
At about midnight, he moved his feet a little bit, and at 2 o'clock, he responded to touch a little bit. And today, he seems to be responding to sound and to verbal stimuli.
When Junior opened his eyes, I thought that he was remembering what had happened under the water. He closed his eyes and he was crying. I was crying, but see, I didn't want him to see me.
2.5 weeks later, just before Christmas, Junior Garza was released from the hospital.
I can't wait to get home and back to school. Merry Christmas, everybody.
That was the nicest Christmas we had ever had. The nicest one, because I had Junior home with me.
One year later, Junior has fully recovered.
Good things do happen where a lot of people work very hard, try very hard, and care very much, and maybe that's what a miracle truly is.
I think I'm really lucky because he pulled me out of the river and I had a second chance at life.
Next.
He said he was going to set another fire the next night.
Suspect is on the ground. He's running northbound.
Last January 29th, the 911 system in Houston received a different kind of call, a taunting challenge from an anonymous caller. Actors have helped us reconstruct the events that took place on the streets that night, but all the 911 calls and police dispatches you'll hear are real.
Houston 911, what is your emergency?
Yeah, this is H.P. Dispatch. We got a house fire, 6819 North Main.
What's your emergency?
1619, the fire.
What about it?
Yeah, when you find out, it'll be in the closet where it started at.
How you know?
I started it.
You started it?
Yeah.
I don't believe that. Huh?
I don't believe it because it's going to be a couple more.
There's going to be some more?
Yeah.
How many you going to set?
Ain't decided yet.
Ain't decided yet?
At Central Fire Dispatch, the first call from the arsonist came into John Musakia.
So you're not going to give me that your name, are you?
It's torch so far.
Do what?
It's going to be torch from now on.
They're going to be torches?
Torch.
Torch?
You're going to hear from me again, okay?
Wait a minute now. Right. Wait, don't hang up yet.
In the beginning, my mind was saying, keep him on the phone as long as you can and notify arson investigators that someone called in about setting the fire. First, I thought he was either a nut or a prankster or whatever, but then he called back.
Houston Fire and Ambulance, what is your emergency?
I want to talk to the guy I was talking to earlier about torch.
Are you the torch?
Mm-hmm.
What did you want to tell me?
It's going to happen again, and I'm waiting for you to catch me.
It's going to happen again?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
There's going to be a whole house going to go down.
I don't believe he knew that. The address and the phone number where he was calling from was coming on the screen. Motion to the guy that was next to me to call the police.
When you what?
I'm hanging up right now. Hurry up.
Hold on.
Because I don't want to help you out catching me.
Hey.
This came in from HSD. This man was on the phone saying that he's been setting fires in the area. 6500 North Main East 24th, there by the payphone. Supposed to be a Latin male.
I'll drive down there and see if I can locate him.
Houston Fire and Ambulance, what is your emergency?
This is that torch I called earlier.
Uh-huh. What did you torch earlier?
Torch a house earlier.
Why did you do that?
For the f***.
You just like,
you know?
Oh, you just like doing it?
By the time the third call came in, all the dispatchers had been warned about the arsonist. His location was immediately passed to Chief Larry Smith, who alerted the police.
This guy that called to set the house on fire.
He's calling from 5824 North Main, and we got him on a phone right now. He's calling in on 911.
5824 North Main?
Yeah.
Dispatcher Kenneth Bankhead tried to keep the arsonist on the line long enough for the police to get to him.
So what What you gonna torch next?
He said he was going to set another fire the next night. He sounded like he really enjoyed setting fires and seeing whatever he set on fire burn. It's like he was getting kicks out of it.
What you gonna torch next?
I told him I'll tell him later on.
Well, what you gonna set on next, man? So hey, I want to shake, rattle, and roll with you too,
on the other side of town.
On the other side of town?
Yeah.
Stand by.
When I was notified by our dispatcher that the man claiming to have started the fire was at a telephone booth, we pulled into that gas station, and sure enough, he was on the phone.
31, he's going to be a Latin American male. He's got a blue jacket or blue windbreaker type jacket, kind of white t-shirt, blue jeans.
That's going to be Latin male, blue jacket, white t-shirt, blue jeans.
What you gonna set on fire tomorrow? Hey, I want to be looking out for it. Hello?
He just hung up.
Suspect is on the ground. He's running northbound through the yards of this location. 2810, he's going eastbound. Eastbound on 20th behind the houses. He just jumped the fence. He's crossing the street on 21st. Adam 31, I just saw him. He's in the backyard still. He's over by the car lot for the auto parts place there. If we've got a unit on West Cavalcade, we've got him blocked in. Stay on Cavalcade side. He hasn't gone through the block yet. Get behind here. Settle down.
Here we go.
2M12, we got him in custody.
That's clear. Suspect in custody, 0400 hours, 23 minutes. Good job, gentlemen.
I was just happy that I was able to keep him on the line long enough in order to have the proper authorities to make it to that location in order to apprehend him so he wouldn't go out and hurt someone.
The man arrested that night confessed to starting the fire. He pleaded guilty to arson and was sentenced to 2 years. Next.
And all of a sudden I looked up and saw the car coming.
She looked like she was on a suicide mission. In America, we love our cars, but they're just about the most dangerous place we can be. Automobiles are the leading cause of accidental death. The driver of the car in this reenactment is a stunt driver, but the rest of the people you'll meet are survivors who have returned to help us tell their story. On March 23rd, 1987, at about 2 in the afternoon, a white sedan came tearing down a highway in suburban Maryland, driving erratically as fast as 95 miles an hour. The car had crossed the border from Pennsylvania and was speeding toward Baltimore, undetected. It was first spotted by Maryland State Trooper Robert Reed.
E-24 Frederick, I'm unable to take that assignment. I'll be in pursuit of a vehicle eastbound, approximately 67 mile marker.
I knew the vehicle was going 90 miles an hour, so I had to go faster than that to intercept the vehicle. I've had all my emergency equipment on, my lights, siren, headlights, and everything. I kept my position for approximately a mile. I thought possibly the driver couldn't see my vehicle, so I proceeded to pull up alongside the vehicle. I observed a female. She seemed to be oblivious to everything going on around her, and the only thing on her mind was driving that vehicle at that speed. I attempted a couple times to get her attention, and she never looked my way. She just stared straight ahead and kept driving the car. I realized I was not in a safe position, so I fell back.
24 Waterloo, Channel 1.
10-4J15. B-24 has a 1080 on Channel 1. He's westbound 70 at the 71-mile mark.
I overheard the conversation about the high-speed chase proceeding in my direction.
Undercover Maryland Police Sergeant Ken Pollock was 30 miles in front of the speeding car, headed in the opposite direction.
I pulled onto the shoulder of the road just to monitor at that particular time.
The only other officer anywhere in the area was Trooper William Wood, just a few miles ahead. He pulled into a construction zone to wait for the runaway car.
As she got into the construction, Trooper Wood was trying to stay in front of her to slow her down, to give me the chance to get up behind her, and then hopefully we could get her slowed down enough to where we could get her off the roadway without striking any other vehicles. It's a technique we commonly call the rolling roadblock.
But at speeds approaching 100 miles an hour, the rolling roadblock backfired. The white sedan crossed the median and drove head-on into traffic.
I knew when she crossed the median strip, she was coming the wrong way. I had to make a move. So anytime that was a high-speed chase, you become very alert. It could be any type of criminal activities that they were wanted for. And at that particular point, an alarm goes off in your mind. I knew at this time that the trooper had no other assistance at that point.
Now, only minutes away from Ken Pollock, the car was splitting the oncoming cars at nearly 100 miles an hour. Ken's first plan was to drive alongside the other cars and motion them off the highway to the safety of the shoulder. But unaware of the speeding car headed in their direction, they moved right back onto the highway.
Plan B was to start stopping all the vehicles to get them away from the cars up on the embankment, standing in the median strip just to get them away from the car. Knowing all the time that I had approximately 2 to 3 minutes or maybe even 4 tops to do this. I was very excited, and I was even a little annoyed because they wasn't paying heed to what I was trying to tell them. Here I am, with a 4-day growth from beard and long scruffy hair and a Dallas shirt. I probably wouldn't have stopped for him either.
David and Laura Cannon and their baby were at the front of the line in their van.
He was rough looking. I thought he was one of the truck drivers. I did not see the badge. I did not realize that he was a policeman.
What's happening?
I saw the badge. I thought, okay. I figured there was an accident or something that was happening.
Get off the road a little bit. Get off the road. Come on, step over the side. Get out.
The only thing that was going through my head was, I have to stop this somehow.
As the car reached the open highway, it began accelerating.
The speeding car was closing on me faster than I thought it was closing on me. And I seen that the cannon van was still occupied. I knew there was only one thing that I had to do at that point, to shield them from being hit.
And all of a sudden I looked up and saw the car coming.
She looked like she was on a suicide mission.
When she hit, all I could hear was metal. And I've never heard a sound like it.
The first thought that came to my mind was the guy, whoever it was going to be in pieces. And I knew I had to get out of the van and check on whoever it was, but I didn't want to do it.
When I was struck like that and the impact that I was struck with, in my mind, I thought that was it. I thought I was going to die. Instantaneously, your life does flash in front of you, whether you want to believe that or not. And of course, I thought of my son right away, my one child who I had lost 7 years prior to that to an automobile crash. And I thought, well, Jeff, here I come, you know, and that's what I thought.
A white sedan slammed against Ken's car, then head-on into a Cadillac, critically injuring 2 women.
Mayhem, that's what happened that day. Basically, when you get in that car, you're probably getting in the most dangerous weapon that can be provided to you.
The driver of the speeding car was seriously injured. The driver's sister.
The main thing I want people to understand about that day is this was not the kind of thing my sister would have done ever in the past. The fact of it is, it was an ordinary person who just had some medical issues that caused some depression, some actions that were very out of the ordinary for her. She remembers that she had a feeling that things were out of control, but she didn't know how to get them back into control.
Because of the driver's acute depression, she was not found criminally responsible for the accident. No one was killed. The Cannons and their baby, whose van had been directly in the path of the speeding car, were not injured.
It's one thing to lay your life down for your friend or someone you know, care for very deeply, but for an absolute stranger, someone you have never seen before or will never see probably again, to do that is quite something else.
Ken Pollock was a hero, but the impact of the white sedan broke his nose, gave him permanent back problems and a long-term concussion.
I would say that definitely the accident has ended my career with Maryland State Police. It really does upset me because that's the only thing I ever loved to do. I was doing something that I knew that had to be done.
He will retire this year after 20 years as a cop.
Chances are that someone you know will suffer a heart attack this year. Will you be able to help save a life? What you're about to see is not a recreation. It's the reality of heart failure in America.
Every day in Houston, 911 gets 3 to 4 calls for cardiac arrest emergencies.
Okay, what I want you to do, I want you to take the heel of your hand and put it in the center of the gentleman's chest, okay? Right between the nipples.
Someone has to start CPR within the first 4 minutes.
Put one hand on top of the other hand.
Electrical shock has to be done within the next 3 or 4 minutes.
The ambulance is coming, okay? Just continue doing the CPR, okay?
If you go beyond either of those 2 time limits, the chances of survival fall dramatically.
They're there? Okay. All right, then, bye-bye.
Dr. Paul Pepe is Director of Emergency Medical Services for the City of Houston, a hands-on supervisor in the 911 centers, the field, and trauma centers.
MD1 to ambulance 58, what's your exact location right now?
Even in the best of systems, the fastest you can get anybody to you is about 3.5 to 4 minutes from the time of a collapse.
Houston Fire and Ambulance, what's your emergency?
Yes, need an ambulance. The lady across the street is in the, there's a gentleman in the car, he's having a heart attack.
How old is he?
I haven't the faintest idea. I was walking out the door, the lady said to call 911.
You don't know whether he's breathing or not?
No, I do not know.
MD1, I'm going with 33s.
When Dr. Pepe arrives at the scene, 3 cardiac arrest teams are working on 49-year-old Walter McLeod in his front yard.
He basically had a sudden short-circuiting of the electrical system of his heart. He had sudden death. He keeled over.
Whoa, look what we got here. Get a complex.
Let me get.
I just barely got to it.
Keep a light on my arm. Get a pole.
Everybody, they ain't supposed to be here. Clear out.
I'll be established. Give me my line.
What do you want on him?
2 milligrams of energy right away.
Bro, lidocaine.
Pump that. Come on, let's go with the CPR. Go with the CPR.
He got pulses whenever he pulses.
That's fine. I mean when he punches, right?
Yeah, no, I mean whenever he kicks up.
That's fine. Let's
Where's
keep
my
it.
epi?
Epi or Atro?
If we can get the rate up, we'll be in good shape.
Atro. You want Atro in there?
I want Atro after I get the Epi out.
All right. Doing good. You should be up.
Let's go. Don't lose that line. And then squeeze the bag in, Charlie, and lift the arm up in the air.
Okay. You got it? Here's some tape, Ken. Cap on 7. Show Epi on board. 1 milligram.
Okay, 927.
Don't lose the line. Lift the arm up in the air. Squeeze the bag in. Run it for 30 seconds. And
Got a pinch?
Okay. Is it running good?
Yes,
okay,
sir.
stop CPR and stop bagging. Okay? Stop bagging. Okay. Go
Got
ahead.
a complex.
Pulse
Right?
it.
It's not,
You
take
got
it
pulses
out.
now?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, keep doing the CPR unless you get a strong radio.
He just slumped over in the car. We got him out and gave him CPR. And that was it. Is he breathing?
How you doing now, Dale?
I got a radio.
Okay, good.
Little packet.
Okay, we got him. Okay, start getting the blood pressure. Okay. Start to take a breath.
Yeah, there he's going now. He's taking off.
Okay, good.
He collapsed over. His friend did CPR immediately.
Hang on, baby. Breathe. Yeah. Breathe some more. Breathe some more, brother.
And basically bought the paramedics the 3 or 4 minutes they needed to get there.
Ambulance 44, engine 53, a 19-year-old female.
And when they arrived, took one shock, and they had brought him back to life.
Like that, sir? Okay, give me some oxygen. He's awake.
You got to be perfused or something to do that.
Yeah, his pulse rate's up, too.
Be advised, we're going to be coming in.
Once Walter's condition is stabilized, he is taken to Ben Taub Trauma Center.
Do you have any chest pain now? Can you hear me?
Inside the shock room, an EKG of the heart is taken to find the source of the problem.
Looks like he's having a heart attack in the bottom part of his heart. We can actually probably have things under control at this point. As you can see, he's talking to you. Here's the man that half an hour ago was dead. It was the end of his life, and he's not with us.
Paramedic Charles Martin brings Walter's friend, Ethel Key Kendall, up to date on his condition.
We got him back. It's going to be a little while. Pastor here's going to be with you to answer some questions.
Thank you.
But, you know, things are looking good, but I'm not going to give you no false hopes. It's going to take some time, okay? And appreciate the information, and I want you to take care of yourself, all right? All right.
Thank
take
you
care.
so much.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
3 years ago, his chances of surviving this event would be nil because we didn't have the communication system in place. We didn't have the priority dispatching in place. We didn't have the whole team effort that we have now.
It's a treatable disease process. If you get there in time before the brain is damaged, you can deliver the therapy, the intervention rapidly, you can make a big difference.
Pechin is 710, cardiac arrest, 3842, Blue Harbor at North Bracewood Boulevard.
Another call for a cardiac arrest. When paramedics arrive, they discover the man has gone into cardiac arrest as a result of a stab wound under his left arm.
Did you get him intubated yet?
Yeah, he's intubated.
Okay.
Okay, let's go.
He's not on the board.
The man has lost so much blood from the wound, his only hope is to get to the hospital and into surgery as quickly as possible.
No, it's one over there. All right. No, that's mine. Okay, Grant, hold up. Got it? Ready down.
This is the only wound we have.
Inside the ambulance, they continue to work on it.
Where? In top. Now let's go.
You're wearing route code 3.
Yeah, CPR in progress.
We do.
Yes, CPR is in progress.
We don't have the trauma team down. We got possible thoracotomy case.
All right, here they come. Watch your backs, everybody. Here they come.
When they arrive at Ben Taub, the patient has no real pulse, respiration, or blood pressure. They have not given up, but time is running out.
Turn the lights on, please.
Okay, give me a chance to check it out here.
Head to that line. More. Yeah.
What, do you cut it?
No, pull it back.
Charles, see the other guy in?
You got nothing here,
No
guys.
contractions at all.
No contractions. What do his pupils look like?
They're about 4, no reaction. 5, no reaction.
What y'all get? Y'all get,
1040.
At 10:40 p.m., he's pronounced dead.
It's hard, you know. We'll probably think about this again tomorrow or tonight. And he was a young man in his 30s, and you know, he may have been deprived of 50 years of life, you know. And it's something that we'll never know. You know, we'll never know now what could have been. All we know is we did our best.
If you take a fatalistic view, when people have a lethal injury, we figure we basically lost the case to begin with. But now, as many as 1 out of 10 of those people who are essentially not breathing, not pulsing, end of their life, have been brought back to living because of the system of care we've set up here.
2 weeks later, Walter McLeod is ready to go home.
You take 1 tablet by mouth every morning, okay?
I don't remember anything. As if somebody had took a baseball bat and just knocked me out. It was just a black, dark world to me.
Later.
Okay. And y'all be good.
Bye-bye now.
After I came home, I could see where the grass had been trampled down where I was in the front yard. They brought me back to life, and I'm thankful to them and to my very dear friend, Ms. Ethel. She tried to bring me back herself out there.
They told me that I did all the right things, and if I had been 2 minutes later, that Walter would not have survived.
As they say, if you can learn to jump-start your car, you can learn to jump-start a life. And she jump-started my life all over.
3/4 of the cardiac arrests occur in the home, in areas where you're around friends or someone you know or love. And so we encourage that everybody learn CPR, essentially, because that's part of the system. The system is not just ambulances. The system is not just paramedics, doctors, and hospital. It is the community when it comes to heart disease.
Just happy that he survived. Oh, yes, because he was a goner. That's for sure. He was a goner. That's for sure. He died a couple of times on us, but he's back. He's with us.
If you are interested in learning CPR, contact the nearest chapter of the American Red Cross. Next.
Joanna was not the type of child to not check in. So I knew that something was possibly wrong and was very, very worried.
On July 31st, 1987, in a suburb of Richmond, Virginia, 8-year-old Joanna Chinnis disappeared. Joanna and the man at the lake that day are played by actors in this reenactment, but neighbors, rescue workers, and the Chinnis family have returned to help us tell her story.
I think from the beginning, it was like being in a bad dream. Everything seemed to be in slow motion.
It was a beautiful day, and Joanna Chinnis wanted to go fishing. She was new in the neighborhood, so she went by herself to the lake behind her house.
Joanna was not the type of child to not check in. She's always really good about checking in. I didn't have to worry about her whereabouts. So I knew by 3 o'clock that something, you know, was possibly wrong and was very, very worried.
When Joanna didn't return, the Chinnis family began searching the neighborhood for her. But what Cindy and Carl Chinnis didn't know was that there was a stranger around the lake that day. Around 8 p.m., they called the police and reported Joanna missing.
Chesterfield Emergency Services, Walpole.
I'd like to report my 8-year-old daughter is missing. Cindy and I kept looking at each other, and not believing it.
The Chesterfield police arrived within 10 minutes and were quickly joined by search and rescue squads, concerned neighbors, and special search dogs.
And about 15 minutes later, special task force with the dogs had come to the house, and by that time I know there was at least 6 or 7 patrol cars out front.
Nearly 100 people began searching for Joanna, concentrating on the lake where she had gone fishing. Rescue workers feared she might have gotten hurt, fallen in the lake, and drowned.
They had brought in a dog that could sniff the top of the water for human scent. I knew she wasn't in the lake. I wouldn't accept it.
The police told Cindy and Carl to stay home and wait in case Joanna called.
I was scared.
We both sort of hugged each other and said, God, you know, don't let anybody hurt Joanna.
That was a long night. It was a long night for everybody. We were very grateful as far as the response of all the neighbors in the community that came out and stayed out all night.
At 3 a.m., exhausted by 7 hours of searching the lake area, the rescue teams broke off their efforts for the night. No one had found any sign of Joanna beyond the street where her scent disappeared.
If you call it a premonition, I think that's what it was, of seeing Joanna just panicking in a car, in an automobile. So I took it that, you know, I accepted the fact that she had been abducted, that somebody did take her.
Imagine that was hard. You know, I told her, you know, don't say any more. I couldn't stand it.
At 6:30 a.m., more than 200 people and dogs began to search again, this time over a much wider area. Joanna had been missing for more than 15 hours.
Okay, what I'm going to do now is just give y'all a general strategy of the areas we're covering and then break you down and show you the individual tasks. And we're going to have you pick your own field team from the groups of neighbors that are around. We have searcher information sheets being run up now, so we'll have pictures for you all to take with you on your task momentarily.
Emergency medical technician Gene Harris was in charge of one search team.
We continued to search throughout the morning. We had no luck at all, no clues. Nothing at all that indicated that a young child had passed through the area. And at that point, we were looking for an abduction victim. Brooks and her dog and Greg Peck went out to the Cornerstone Church area, and Beth and her dog and I went on a parallel grid to her in a lower swampy area.
It was beginning to get dark when Brooks' dog, Buster, picked up a scent.
Good girl.
I heard Brooks yelling over the radio, status 2, which to us means I've found a victim and I need medical assistance.
After 28 hours, Joanna was found lying in the woods less than 2 miles from home.
It was like being in a football stadium when somebody just made a touchdown, and it was a big roar, and it was just a complete, you know, relief that she had been found because the nightmare was over. It was finally over.
But it wasn't over. Joanna was barely conscious and bloody from 3 stab wounds in her chest and 1 in her neck. They rushed to get her medical attention.
What do you got? Got a chest wound here. Okay. Hold her just a second.
Okay,
Let's see what we got. Let's don't wait. Let's get going.
Let's go, Dave. We got 3 new chests.
At that point, she was holding onto my hand and just wouldn't let go. It was just squeezing as hard as she could.
Okay, you're going to be all right now. You're inside an ambulance. It's all over with. Yeah, just relax. Everything's okay.
For a while there, it was touch and go. We weren't really sure in the ambulance just exactly what the total extent of her injuries were.
When I saw her, she looked so frail. I was afraid that she was going to die. I can't explain the way she looked. I just grabbed her hand
And I told her I was so glad that we found her. She was going to be all right. And she said, Mom, don't cry.
She was very, very weak. And I remember it felt so good. Touched her hand. And that tiny hand, in my hand, it felt so good.
Joanna was able to give the police a detailed description of her attacker. The man had seemed nice. He took her in his car to go fishing someplace better, then strangled her and stabbed her 4 times, leaving her for dead. 2 days later, a man matching the description was arrested less than 10 miles away. He pleaded guilty to the abduction and attempted murder of Joanna Chinnis and was sentenced to 3 consecutive life terms in prison. A year and a half after the incident, Joanna is fully recovered from the wounds she suffered in the attack.
She was a very lucky girl. The only severe damage was to the lung that was collapsed. The arteries in the neck were missed, the arteries in the chest were missed, the heart was missed. She's just lucky to be alive.
Basically, I would say be careful and let your children know that talking just to anyone that they've never seen before is very, very dangerous.
Recently, Joanna met Buster, the dog who rescued her, for the first time since that day.
I think that the dog that saved me was a wonderful dog, and that he should be treated like, have a lot of treats or something. Buster.
We don't use the term lucky in Joanna's case because there's nothing near luck. It's more of a miracle.
I get a lot of kisses from dogs. You knew that.
This is 911. Do you have an emergency?
When you need help, call 911 or the emergency number in your area. A quick call could save a life. This program is dedicated to the real heroes who answer our calls for help and risk their lives to save the life of a stranger. I'm William Shatner. Join me again for more true stories on Rescue 911.
Mr. Shapiro, step out of the car, please.